Hey there, have you ever had that feeling like you just don't quite fit in? Like you're operating on a completely different wavelength than pretty much everyone else around you? Well, today we're going to dive into a really powerful metaphor from our source that just brilliantly unpacks that exact feeling, and it offers a pretty fascinating new way to think about our place in the world.
So our source material kicks things off with this really provocative question you see here. Why does the world reject the enlightened? Now, I know that sounds super heavy, right? But the answer we're about to explore is actually surprisingly simple, and it has everything to do with physics, metaphorically speaking, of course.
All right, so to unpack this idea, we first need to get a really clear picture in our minds. The source material gives us the central image to hold on to, a single tiny ping-pong ball floating in a vast, heavy ocean. Just take a second and really picture that, the small, light object in the immense, powerful sea.
Now here's where it gets personal. Our source invites us to imagine that you are that ball. You're inherently buoyant, you're light, and no matter how hard you try to push yourself down into the depths to connect with everything, you just can't sink. You always pop right back up to the surface. Okay, so to really get the power of this metaphor, we need to decode its two key parts. What do the ball and the ocean actually represent in our lives? Let's break it down.
First up, we've got the ping pong ball. Now this isn't just a thing, it represents a certain kind of person. It's the individual who feels different. Maybe you call them enlightened, or a creative, or just an outsider. Its defining characteristic, according to our source, is this inherent lightness, a natural buoyancy that's at the very core of who they are.
And then we have the ocean. And it's the total opposite of the ball. The ocean represents the collective, the immense weight of societal norms, the crushing pressure of expectations, the dense, heavy reality of the way things are. It's not presented as good or bad, it just is. And its main feature is its incredible heaviness and density.
So now that we have the light ball and the heavy ocean, we get to the core of the conflict. Why are these two things so naturally at odds? What is it that causes this feeling of rejection?
I mean, this chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's a fundamental opposition. On one side, the ball is all about lightness, buoyancy, and the individual. And on the other, the ocean is heaviness, density, and the collective. You can see it's not some kind of moral battle, it's almost a physical one. Their very natures are just completely opposed.
And this leads to a huge insight from our source, captured perfectly in this quote. Your lightness makes the world want to spit you out. The whole idea here is that the rejection you might feel isn't personal. It's not malice, it's just a natural reaction. A heavy, dense system like the ocean simply cannot absorb something so light and buoyant. It will always push it back to the surface. It's physics.
Okay, I know this might sound a little bleak, right? But stick with me, because this is where the whole idea takes a really hopeful and constructive turn. See, the source doesn't just describe the problem, it actually offers a solution. And it's not about changing who you are. It's about finding a whole new way to navigate this ocean.
Which, of course, raises this critical question. If the ocean, by its very nature, is always going to push your lightness away, then how in the world do you stay? How can you possibly exist within this collective without being constantly rejected?
And the answer our source gives is just brilliant. You don't have to change your fundamental nature. You don't have to give up your lightness. You don't need to become heavy and dense like the ocean. Instead, you need something else entirely. You need a new vessel.
So what on earth is this vessel? Well, it's not a literal boat, obviously. It's more of a conceptual framework. And building it involves these three steps. First, you acknowledge your buoyancy. You accept your lightness as a core part of you, as a strength. Second, you understand the ocean's nature. You see the world for what it is, without judgment. And finally, you use that understanding to build your form. This form, or vessel, could be anything really. Your career, a community you build, your art. It's the structure that lets you interact with the world, but on your own terms.
So, let's bring this all together. What does navigating your ocean actually mean for you, day to day? Let's get to the key takeaways.
All right, the crucial points to walk away with are really clear. That feeling of being an outsider, that's your lightness. When you feel pushed away, just remember, it's often the world's natural, almost physical reaction to that lightness. It is not a personal failing. And maybe most importantly, you do not need to become heavy just to fit in. The real key, the game changer, is to build your vessel, your own unique way to engage with the world that honors who you are and the reality around you.
And this brings us to our final thought. This vessel, this structure for navigating the world on your terms, it isn't something anyone else can design for you.
It has to come from your own unique understanding of yourself and the world. So the question isn't if you should build one, but what does your vessel look like?